I'm Sammy.
I'm Spencer Robbins, and we run A Life Free.
If you haven't already, subscribe to our channel, like, and share it with a friend.
Do it. Do it now.
Do it.
Do it.
What is up, you guys? Sammy Robbins here with Alive and Free. I am working at my office today, and I thought I'd make a quick video. Spencer's not here, obviously. Well, he is here, but he's not here. He's over there, kind of here. So I just wanted to make a quick video talking about my process lately. And I hope that it's good for you guys. One of my favorite things about what we do and how we live is that I get to lead with vulnerability. I have never appreciated leadership where people act like they have it all together and they teach only from their victories and their breakthroughs. I think it lacks relatability. I think it lacks vulnerability. I don't feel as affected and impacted by people when I don't get to hear the vulnerability and their story and how they got to where they're at. And so I love what I do for that reason, because I get to open myself up and let you guys see into my inner world. And it's funny, sometimes I get comments and messages, and sometimes I even hear from family, and they hear my transparency and vulnerability, and they think that I can tell that the way they interpret it is that it's a weakness, and so people will try to speak into what I'm sharing about. And that's not why I share. I'm not sharing because I need help with things. I get a lot of counseling, have a lot of leadership, I work through a lot of stuff. I'm sharing from past really honest feelings and situations that I've walked through, so that you can see in, so that you can connect to me, so that you know that I'm not preaching from a place of I have all of this together, and I'm not speaking or teaching from a place of like come to where I am. I'm more like, hey, this is life. This is process. Here's mess. Life is really messy and it's beautiful. And if we can find the beauty in it here, then where will that send us? What will that set us up for? What kind of intimacy can we experience with God when we're free of shame, when we're done just trying to fix ourselves and shove the pain and get rid of the problems and find the next solution or medication? To me, I would miss out, and I think you would miss out on the opportunity to experience unconditional love if you didn't get loved in the places that were the messiest and needed it the most. What a lot of us do, and I did this for a really long time, and I probably still do it sometimes, is we live with this thing where they're like, oh, I will love myself when I don't trigger as much, or when I'm married, or when my body looks the way that I want it to, then I'll love it, or then I'll give myself compassion or understanding or rest. We give ourselves conditional love because we think that if we can give ourselves love when the conditions are right, it will be like the reward. And we were taught love on a reward system. If you're good, then you get love. If you're bad, then love is withdrawn. And we dangle this carrot in front of us, and we think, when I hit this thing and when I hit that thing, and what we're actually doing is partnering with self-hatred. Because wherever there is conditional love, it is actually just self-hatred. And so what I have loved about my recent process is it's been really freaking messy. I have been triggering like crazy consistently. Sometimes I'll trigger for days at a time. I have had really bad reactions to things. I'm allowing myself to be messy. I'm having like emotional flashbacks happen, like the same feelings that I had in childhood, I'll get hit with over and over and over again. And what I've really loved about it is the opportunity to learn again to really love myself and bring compassion to myself in those areas, to give myself permission to be messy, to be in pain, to not have it all together. And it's been actually really fun recognizing the places where I've given myself conditional love. It's been really fun recognizing like, oh, I've actually partnered with this again. And if I'm partnering with conditional love, it means I'm actually still in partnership with self-hatred. And so I've loved it. It's been really humbling. It's been really fun. And it also freaking sucks. Does it suck, babe? Yep. He says, yep. It sucked. It's hard. It's not easy being triggered. And so this is my really, really, really long intro into what I'm going to share really quickly because I have to hop on our team meeting in just a couple minutes. So here's what I think is going on. We have been connecting a lot with our community. We have been diving into relationships a lot, and they're the relationships we've had for a while that feel really good and comforting and safe to us. And since we've been diving back into our community, here's what I'll tell you I believe. I believe that whenever our hearts feel safe is when we actually trigger the most. So when we don't feel safe, we can actually just keep going and keep doing life, and things can be fine. You can numb it, you can shove it, you can run away from it, you can avoid it, you can do whatever you want. But whenever our hearts are met with safety, with love, and with compassion, I think the little girl or the little boy in us actually feels safe to express and to release and to purge out pain. And so in the safety of the community that we've had, I have found myself triggering a lot. I've had a really deep sense of abandonment that has been rearing its head in me. I have had this deep feeling of loneliness and fear of loneliness. And it's funny because I am the most surrounded by people that I have ever been in my life. I have the most solid and committed relationships. I'm the most connected to the people around me than I've ever been before. And it's just now that I'm recognizing this really deep sense of aloneness that I've had. And for years, I've been really, really independent. I grew up at a really young age. I started taking care of my family from a really young age. I kind of turned into the caretaker and the hero role in my family, where I took on over responsibility. And so if I'm honest, I'm used to the feeling of being alone. I'm used to the feeling of independence. I'm introverted, and I love being alone. It's actually very easy for me to do life alone. I haven't really had many needs in relationship with the people around me. So it's fascinating that now that I'm surrounded, I have this deep sense of aloneness and abandonment that came up. And the only way I can make sense of that, and I've had this belief since before these triggers, is that my heart is finally feeling safe to purge this pain. Triggers are actually such a gift because they reveal emotions that have been bottled up inside of us for a really long time. I don't remember who says the quote, but there's actually a title of a book, but it's called Feelings Buried Alive Never Die. And it's true. If you've had pain in the past and you haven't grieved it and purged it and felt it and healed it, it's still bottled up inside of you. And the more you bury it and the more you shove it and the more your life circumstances change and get better, doesn't mean that that pain goes away. So triggers and emotional flashbacks are actually feelings that are just ready to be felt. They're ready to come up and out. But you can't heal from them if those feelings aren't felt and seen and validated. They need to be seen, they need to be validated, they need love poured into them, and then they can actually come up and out. And so that's where I've been at. I don't have a solution. I don't have a ton of resolve. There's not things in my life that I'm actively changing or doing besides giving myself space and permission to trigger and to grieve and to feel. And I'm giving myself love and compassion in those moments. So what it's practically looked like is in a moment when I trigger, which means I have intensified feelings that don't really measure up. Like my reaction internally doesn't measure up to what's happening in the circumstance. Sometimes it's easy in marriage or in relationship for someone to do something tiny and all of a sudden you shut down or you wall up or you want to run away or you want to cling and attach and you'll have these really intense emotions and reactions, and you're like, wait, why did that moment affect me that much? Well, it's because you're having an emotional flashback. You're emotionally flashing back to pain and feelings that you had as a child, and they're getting projected onto this close person or circumstance in a moment. And so what that's looked like when I'm getting triggered is I will have this super deep sense of, oh no, I am gonna feel alone in a marriage for the rest of my life. Is my feeling that I have a lot. I'm going to be alone forever. I'm never going to have the kind of deep connection that I want. And if you guys have seen any of my content, you probably think, oh my gosh, there are no men like Spencer. He's so self-aware. He's committed to growth. He's committed to her. He's such a good man. And he is. He's all of those things, 100%. What you see is what you get. We do not put on a front. We're very honest. We're honest about our mess. We're honest about our pain. And so he's an amazing man. And so my response to moments of pain are me feeling like, man, I'm never going to have the connection in marriage that I want. I'm always going to feel alone. I'm going to be stuck in this marriage where I'm lonely for the rest of my life. That doesn't quite measure up to what my marriage is actually like. And the truth is we're only 2.5 years in. My marriage is as bad as it's ever going to be. It's only going to get better. And I know that because we're constantly committed to growing and to healing and choosing connection. And so in those moments when I have an emotional flashback, I'm actually flashing back to the feelings that I had as a kid. I'm going to be stuck in this family. No one's going to want me. I'm going to be alone. I'm going to be surrounded by people, and I'm never going to feel connected. And there's no way for me to get out. And so my heart is feeling safe enough to actually purge and release that pain. And what I'm doing in these moments is giving myself a timeout. First and foremost, I'm giving myself time to feel. And then I might just sit quietly and remind my heart and the little girl in me, hey, Sammy, or hey, heart, you're not always going to feel this way. It makes so much sense that you have pain. It makes so much sense because you felt alone and isolated and abandoned your entire life. And that's really valid. You went through a lot of pain, but I'm not going to leave you. And the truth is Spencer's not either. God's not going to leave you. Your friends aren't going to leave you. But even if they did, I would still take care of you. So I'm validating, hey, it makes so much sense that you'd feel this way, but I'm getting rid of the powerlessness that I feel in that moment. The powerlessness, the voice of powerlessness is the voice that says it's always going to be this way. It has, what's the right word for it, babe? Like the always and never kinds of statements. No, not powerlessness. Always and never statements. I can't think, like indefinite. It has generalizations on it. So I'm always going to feel this way, or I'm never going to have the marriage that I want. It makes it very extreme and dramatic. So how to kill that voice of powerlessness is reminding yourself like, hey, heart, your needs are going to get met and you will not always feel this way, but I'm going to be here to take care of you. God's going to take care of you and we're going to resolve this, but it's okay that you're hurting. And I'm going to be here with you while you're hurting. I'm not going to shut down and isolate and abandon you, because we abandon ourselves and our own hearts when we shut down, because there's pain that we're not tending to. So we're saying, hey, what you feel doesn't matter. This feels too scary, so I'm going to disassociate and I'm going to go over here. So how you resolve that is saying, hey, I'm committed to you, even if no one else is, and I'm going to take care of you. And the truth is that it's only going to get better from here. So I have to hop on my team meeting right now, but I hope that this was helpful for you. If you only give yourself love and compassion in these moments and learn how to validate your pain, that is the healing. That is the solution. That is the remedy. You can even invite God into it and ask him questions about you. And it doesn't get me out of my triggered season. It doesn't get me out of the mess that I feel like I'm in, but it actually helps my heart calm down in those moments. And it gives my heart a safety that I'm going to feel things when they come up. I'm not going to shove it. I'm not going to numb it. I'm not going to run away from it. I'm not going to disassociate. I'm going to feel. I'm going to lean into it. And then I'm going to move on to the next moment in my life. But I love you guys. I hope this was helpful. If you got anything out of this, please throw in the comments what you got, why you liked it, why it was helpful for you, and then share this video with a friend, and it would really help support our channel. Thanks, guys.